Hello, I'm NDW from Getdatables podcast. We're live every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Tuesdays are Raw and SmackDown review. Friday, Impact Watch Party. Saturday, Rumors and Innuendo Show. I'm here today with Sebastion Envi. Is that how you say it? Sebastion
Yep.
Envi.
Yep.
All right. Can you tell people about yourself? Where you when you started first wrestling and what got you into wrestling?
Who? What got me into wrestling? That's couldn't even tell you. I've been watching it long as far back as I remember. I remember going to one of my best friend's houses as a kid, and he used to get the WWF magazines, and we would cut out the people's pictures and stuff and post them up on the wall and all that kind of fun stuff. So I couldn't even tell you when that started. So definitely longer than I can remember as far as like when I got started um, training and it was April of 2009. My first match was in October of 2010 here in Texas. I was trained by out of Denton, Texas, by Knight Davis, out of who owned and ran XCW. And then my first show was IHWE in Fort Worth, October 2010.
Yeah, you remember your days like great. You remember your days like down to the T.
Well, I mean, they were pretty important milestones for me just because I wanted to do this I wanted to do it since I was my early 20s. I was living in Louisiana at the time, and I had seen God, I think it was like ACW in East Texas that had show going out there, and then they would run the little, hey, if you want to learn how to be a wrestler, blah blah blah, and they would do their little promo thing with the contact information and stuff, and um, that's what I thought. Okay, maybe I could actually do it. And then I broached the idea to my ex who I was with at the time, and she literally like laughed in my face when I told her that. So I just got immediately discouraged. Then just backburnered it, and we ended up splitting up. And I moved to Texas, and it was just one day. When I moved to North Texas, I was just taking a different route to work. And seen the XCW building, and then went in there. Talked tonight about training. Actually, we went to a couple weeks of shows because they ran weekly at the time. So went in there after those couple weeks. Talked to tonight about training, and we worked things out. And then I started training. So I definitely remember those dates because it was important to me because it was something that like I said, had somebody off top laugh in my face, literally, for wanting to do. And it's something that I never wanted, like when I get old and gray, or rather older and grayer, when I'm in my rocking chair in the, old folks home, I don't want to look back on my life and have left anything that I wanted to do out there succeed or fail. I could have fell on my face doing this, and I've had some successes. I've had, lots of failures and taken some lumps and stuff like that with it, but I still love it. And I'm glad that I started it, and I just never wanted to ever let it be said about me that I wanted to do something and never at least tried it.
I can respect that a whole lot. It's funny that you like say that someone laughed in your face and someone's so close to you. That's the weird thing about like wrestling and then like movies and acting and like things for entertainment. It's shown success. It's shown that people can succeed at this. But then you still have those people, even your most loved ones, that think, but they still think, well, anyone can. Well, like people succeed at it and are really successful, but they never think it can be you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely. Um, I've definitely experienced that. Like I said, I mean, she wasn't she was the first one, my ex, but she wasn't the last one that kind of doubted me and my desire to do this, my ability to do this, the smarts in doing it from a health standpoint, from a financial standpoint. It's just you just gotta set a goal and block out, the people that are trying to detract you from it. I mean, and I take that track when it comes to wrestling, when it comes to entertainment and some of my other interests, which are in film and production and stuff like that. So I definitely um, can have had those same responses where I've had doubters and people literally laughing at me for what I want to do. And it's just, you got to just focus on the goal. It's cliche as can be, but you focus on the goal as best you can, push past the haters, or just use them as your motivation, as stepping stones to get you to the goals that you want to achieve, and not ever feel bad if you don't achieve them. Don't it's not like they were right, or anything. It's just stuff works out sometimes it doesn't. You just got to keep focused and just give it your best shot no matter what. So I try to have that outlook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about like when you first started wrestling? What did you like? What did your trainer try to install to you that's important that you need to do? Like, don't do that. Do this. I know this might work somewhere else, but don't do that. This will work. Like this will work.
Just making stuff make sense. Just don't do things just to do it. I'm a small guy. I'm a cruiserweight. I like to say. And so of course, naturally, people are going to look at me and expect me to be a spot monkey, to be flipping and flopping around and all that kind of stuff. And I can, but that's not my first go-to, thing that I want to do, that I want to break out in a match. I just want things to make sense when I do them. And that was one of his big things, was just making things make sense. Don't do something just to do it. Have a reason for doing it. And that's something, I started going back to him because he started training again, and I started going back to him to kind of clean up some of the stuff that I've kind of strayed away from, some of the fundamentals that he instilled in me. And just even on the first day that I went back, that was one of the things he was still harping upon me and some of the other people that were there. It just it's the little things that will make or break you as a performer. And it's just when you're trying to get, of course, everybody's goal is to get signed and go to the professional wrestling promised land and that sort of thing. But you said even then, those guys up there, they're paying attention to the little things, and it's just the smallest little detail, an extra step here, an extra whatever there can just railroad you, can knock you off. So you just got to pay attention to the little things.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about like when you're like trying to be in a match? You say you want everything to make sense. What are some of your favorite stories that you like to do in a match, in a storyline? I know you do like a lot of work for like CWF and everything. And so like when you're down there, what is like your favorite storylines to do?
Um, Anything outside of just a traditional David versus Goliath type of scrappy underdog fights the big bad bully, that sort of thing. Which, like I said, I'm a cruiserweight, so I get stuck in that a lot. But just any opportunity that I can to flex just my style, it's just high impact, hard hitting style. Any storyline, any situation that allows me to just be me and just kind of naturally be um I don't want to say like I dislike everybody, but majority of people out there. So any chance I get to flex kind of that my natural um, personality, that's a good story to me.
Yeah. Do you ever consider like have you ever considered doing like have you done like big ladder matches? Are you into doing like that stuff? It's like the death match stuff, the high flying daredevil stuff.
Death matches, no, not really. I don't think I'll ever be in a position to do that, to even say yes or no to it. But I've had a ladder match. I had a ladder match in APW here in Texas, in Cleburne, Texas, earlier this year. They were um, reinstilling their cruiserweight division, so there was like a little mini tournament on the show with qualifiers, and then the three of us that qualified competed in a three-way ladder match for the belt. And then a few years back, I was in a TLC match with myself and I think it was like 4 or 5 other guys. Um, but I'll take them as they come up, but I'm not the type to go looking for those types of those extreme I know that again, that's cliche and overused word, but those types of matches, I'll take them when they come, but I don't go out of my way to try to find them. Particularly, like I said, death matches, no, I don't foresee that, but who knows?
Yeah, yeah, I understand what you mean. So tell me about like what are you doing right now when it comes from to like movies and TV? I know you do a lot of like camera and direction stuff. Where are you at right now with all that?
It's very much the same thing as wrestling, just trying to make um, material, make a product, and get it out there, and just try to make my mark. The big thing about um, uh, film and production and stuff like that, it's never been as easy as it is today to make stuff and put it out there with YouTube and sites like that, and with Amazon Video, as easy as it is to put stuff up on there. But myself, I realize that, but of course, 1,000 other people, a million other people notice that, realize that, and they're trying to do the exact same thing. So it's trying to put a good product together, put it out there, and get through all the noise. And it's the same thing as far as like wrestling. It's just there's wrestlers are a dime a dozen. So it's like putting your work out there, trying to get through the noise, trying to get somebody to see it, to think it's worthwhile, to have that lightning in a bottle moment where the right person at the right time sees the right thing and puts you on. And you see it happen with wrestlers. You see it happen with big Hollywood directors. God, who was it? Coogler, who did Black Panther. He did Fruitvale Station before that. Fruitvale Station was like his first. I mean, he did little films before that, but that was kind of his first big indie film. And then the right people at the right time saw that. Next thing you know, dude's on Black Panther. So it can happen just like that. So and where I am with my film stuff, I kind of backed off for a little bit, getting frustrated by some. Like I said, I've taken my lumps with wrestling. I've taken my lumps with film. I had a project that I was really, really behind in cheerleader karate school. We tried to make a live action version of it. I was fully on board with it. My cast, not so much, or not all of them, but several, enough of them to really hamper the final product. And then I had people reacting negatively. When we finished it, I had people talking behind my back, thinking that it was not going to get back to me, and it did. So that negativity kind of made me take a step back. So now I'm just trying to reassess things, reinvest in some of my gear and stuff like that. I have a literal list that I've titled list of stuff that that I want to do, that's broken up by genre, by actual product, be film, comic book, and it's just a list that I've made of stuff that I want to get to. I've got a couple short films that I'm going to do before the year's out, and then again, it's just make them, put them online, promote them, and just try to get my foot in the door when it comes to filmmaking and steady work in that regard. Because in my ideal world, during the week, I'm on a film set, I'm on a commercial set, I'm in the edit bay doing that. Weekend comes, I'm in the ring kicking somebody in the face. That's my ideal life.
Yeah, man, you just gotta keep on going. And sometimes I know it feels like it's wild this happened to me. Am I the only one? But you're nowhere near the only one. There's so many people. I'm following a girl right now named Roxy Sharp. She's on Collider Live. Maybe you heard of that. And she goes live every night on YouTube trying to make some money to make her movie. She's like, she's in her 30s. 10 years, she could be 40. She could be not even be able to do TV and stuff, and she's trying to get it done so fast. I'm like, you keep going, and I hope you make it.
Oh yeah, it's. I mean, there's so many people out there just hustling and grinding, and that's just what you got to do. Like I said earlier, it's a matter of setting goals for yourself and just pushing past all the negativity, because you're gonna find lots and lots of negativity from people who just don't like you for whatever reason. Maybe they resent you because they just don't have the drive that you do to be successful, to take an idea, to take a goal, a dream, and the steps you're taking to try to achieve it. They don't have that in their life, so maybe they're trying to bring you down. Any myriad of reasons for the negativity, you're going to get it. You just got to, just keep on pushing past it. And that's what I'm trying to do in all facets of my life, but most importantly, my two biggest facets of my life, which are wrestling and film production.
Yeah, most certainly. But like, In the 10 years, about close to a decade that you've been a professional wrestler, I want to ask you this: how has the culture of professional wrestling like changed? Like, you know what I mean? The culture, how it changed, what is things people stopped doing that they were doing in 2010 that they cannot do now.
Uh, mm, uh, I go back again. We were talking, earlier. We were talking last night. Matter of fact, about working and how social media has impacted kind of what we're doing and the ability to promote and make a name for ourselves. I think that's the big thing is as far as a culture and as a wrestling culture, as a culture, looking at society as a whole. Things have certainly changed when it comes to social media and how that impacts things, be it positively and negatively. You got people maybe thinking that they can say and do certain things because of social media, or maybe for like they may do or say something that could be perceived as disrespectful, but they're thinking, oh, I'm gonna go viral, I'm gonna get heat, I'm gonna do this or that, but it's really a negative behavior that they're putting out there, but they're looking at it from a purely social media um, effect. And before, you may not necessarily have people you know trying to do that sort of thing. I think that's the biggest thing is just social media and its impact, its change, its effects on wrestling culture, just like it's affecting all of us in society as a whole.
Yeah, social media gives so much, but then it takes a little away from society, and maybe we sometimes the only real pros of social media, in my opinion, is business. That's only what I'm using social media for. If I didn't do wrestling, if I didn't do YouTube, if I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
do
I mean
anything,
it's totally
yeah, I probably wouldn't
it's
use
totally
social
killed us
media.
as a society, because we don't talk, we don't interact, and you can be across, and I'm guilty of it myself. I'm across the room, and I'm in the next room instead of getting up and going to say something to them. I'm texting or I'm DMing them, or it's stupid, but I mean it's just the way it is. People, how many people you see walking down the street and genuinely just walking down the street looking, paying attention to stuff? No. 9 times out of 10, they face down into their phone. That's just
Yeah,
the way it is now.
we're gonna get into another thing. I was texting this girl. It's like random fan. I was thinking about like I've been trying to like make a show with. I think I got this another chick that I'm gonna make a show with because I'm doing Getdatables. Why don't make my own thing because you can't put a price on something that's your own. But I was texting this chick about a week ago. Might have not even been a week. It might have been a couple days. She said, "Oh, it does, the wrestlers don't care what you talking about. Like the WWE wrestlers, they don't care what I think because they're wrestlers. It doesn't matter what I say. I can't hurt them feelings." I'm like, you know, they're human beings and they have feelings just like the rest of us. And she was like, "No, they're not. They're wrestlers." And I was like, and I was getting so mad because she couldn't understand that they're human beings and they have feelings. And if you say something mean about them on social media, that actually can hurt their feelings and ruin their day.
Oh yeah, I mean it just I mean it's the social media just emboldens you positively and negatively, and mostly negatively, just the way things are in our culture and society. It's just more than likely, you know, people on social media are going to say something, crap on somebody for this reason or that reason, just because they can, because they're not in front of them, they're in front of a keyboard, they're however many thousands of miles away, doing whatever, but this person's going to be in their room, at a Starbucks, at the library, on the Wi-Fi or whatever, just talking noise just because they can, not worried about the effects on the individual that they're, crapping on. But that's just the way we are today, and it ain't never going back to the way it was. So it's just got to learn to, I guess, adjust to it, filter out all the negativity. It goes back again to filtering out the negativity, focusing on the positive and what you want to do, what you want to achieve. It's cliche as can be, but I mean it's simple stuff. It's just simple things that you need to adhere to in your daily life to be successful.
Yeah, so like right now in CWF, what's your current storyline going? Because I know you just won you just beat Stephen Kirby for the MPX championship. Or here in
Well,
now?
the prospect.
Yeah, they'll say it again.
So with that one, I'll
Yeah,
get
yeah.
four title defenses if I defend it four times. I have a chance to challenge for the heavyweight belt.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm not on the show this week. I am back out in Fate, Texas, with the Christian Wrestling Federation for a few tapings for the CWF TV that we do. That's put up weekly on the CWF's YouTube channel. But then I'll be back out to MPX September 28th. So ideally, it'll be my first of four title defenses. So we'll see how it goes.
So you're based how you just wrestle in Texas. Have you ever gone to wrestle out of state or anything like that?
I've wrestled in all over Texas and Georgia, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Seattle, Washington, and yeah, that's it thus far. I've tried. I had a couple bookings in Missouri that both of them fell through, and I've been trying to get in Missouri for literal years. I've been trying to get Tennessee since the day I started. Haven't been able to crack that. Louisiana, I've been trying to get there for like 5 or 6 years. That hasn't happened yet. So it's just trying to get in the know with the right people um, to get on shows. But again, I'm just trying to refocus now, and not so much just work shows just to fill up my calendar, just so I can say, oh, I've got a booking every week of this month. I'm working. I want to work the shows that matter for the goals that I have for myself and the places that I want to go. So that's my focus now. My kind of retooled focus is to work the shows that matter, that will put me in front of the people who matter, who have some pull for the shows that, or at least can help me, whether it's just through, match critique or this or that, and keep, fine tuning me to make me the kind of worker that can get on the shows that I want to go to.
Totally fair. You. This is what I've kind of noticed. I might be wrong about this. That like they say like territory wrestling is dead, and which is like, yeah, there's the big companies. There's WWE and there's everyone. But like when you're like first starting out, where you start wrestling at, where you're trained at, where you wrestle at around the area a lot of time, like you wrestle around that state for like a while until you like really get your name out there, then you can start like really traveling to wrestle.
Uh, it was a couple of years before I actually tried to really get out there. Just kind of wanted to be better and be confident in what I could do before I go any sort of distance um, to try to get on a show. Because got to think the promoter is stepping out by bringing somebody from a distance as opposed to going with somebody closer, maybe one of their homegrown guys and that sort of thing, and just going in front of any sort of new crowd and stuff. I wanted to be good, uh, good enough, and of course, wanted to get better with whoever I worked. So it was a little bit before, because the big thing was just getting experience on good shows, on bad shows. That was one thing actually my trainer said every worker needs to work a crap show just so they can understand what a crap show is, why they don't want to work a crap show, and how to spot one, and that sort of thing. So worked a few of those, unintentionally and intentionally, and learned things, um, good and bad lessons through those. And it was like a handful of years before I actually really started to get out of Texas. Because now that's all kind of I want to do. Like, I'm happy to work MPX, happy to work CWF, and there's a couple other places in Texas that I've worked that I'm trying to get back to and that sort of thing. But I just want to get out of Texas because it's just trying to build a name for myself. I'm just trying to get in front of different people, different audiences, and just have good matches, get my name out there, work the shows that matter, and hopefully, accomplish, take a step further towards accomplishing, my laundry list of goals.
Yeah. How can you tell like it's a crap show? What's the thing about a crap show? Like I don't like. Do you mean like, oh, it's like a bad car, like people in the car aren't good, or do you mean like what do you mean like everything goes wrong?
Just from the pay to the location to the ring, um, to the workers on the show. I mean, if they're actually, trained professional wrestlers, or if they're just, the promoters, you know, buddies that he has beers with a couple times a week and that sort of thing. Um, Backyarders. Um, I was on a show where I was in the ring with somebody who should not have been in the ring, and it was a hard lesson for me to learn because I should have realized I can't do what I usually do with other trained professional people in the ring, and I trusted myself and was confident in what I could do, but I should have been more cognizant of him and his lack of skill and training and professionalism and what he could do. I ended up um, breaking my leg and my ankle. Good times. Um,
Jesus, did they like pay for something? Did they? What did the promotion do for you? Did they do anything? Did they say,
no,
oh
no, we
well?
had a bootleg nurse in the back, and she did a bad rap job on my ankle. She called it a high ankle sprain. A severe high ankle sprain is what she said. It was actually my tibia and my ankle broken, all that tendons and all that fun stuff in there was shredded. Um,
What that come back from injury when you had to go through that and you were like so new to wrestling and you had to go through that bad injury?
Say it again. Sorry.
How did you come back from that? Like, how did that affect you being so new to wrestling? Did that affect your mindset of, do I want to keep doing this and that?
Oh, it had no effect on my mindset as far as like wanting to keep doing it. I definitely did. I was mad that it happened. Again, it was a um a painful lesson that I got as far as like I said, and just being cognizant of what the other person can or cannot do, not just assuming that because I feel this, feel a certain way about myself and I feel a certain way about my skills. I also still need to be cognizant of the level of the person that I'm in the ring with. So, I mean, after it happened, it was February of 2012 when it happened, like the second week of February. So I think like a week later, I was having my first surgery. I had two short pins and two long pins put in my ankle and a plate. And then my second surgery was uh, middle of June, where I got the two long pins taken out. So I've still got the plate and two short pins in my ankle now. I've got 95%, 96% range of motion in my ankle. I had a pretty good surgeon. I was back in the ring late August of that year. Um, probably sooner than I should have been, but um, it was a XCW show that was being put on for like a fair type of event in Denton, Texas, and anything XCW, I was, no way I was going to miss that. So I kind of pushed things, but it made me no less hungry to get back at it, to keep doing it, just to be successful, to just look at it as an expensive and painful lesson. And hopefully I wouldn't put myself in that position going forth. Because I mean, I've had like, various bumps and bruises and that sort of thing. But that was the most serious thing that happened. But it did nothing to lessen my enthusiasm or my desire to continue on in this business and try to accomplish my goals that I have.
All right. If we talk about some of the like comic, like some of the media, TV stuff you've been involved in, like can you tell me about was it comic book called Vanessa Cage that you were a little involved in?
Which one?
Vanessa Cage.
Uh, that is not sticking out in my mind.
You don't remember
You
that?
said comic book?
Comic book? Yeah, something a project you did that you really were behind and you were promoting called Vanessa Cage.
The only Vanessa that I had on the project was the Vanessa that was the lead character in my HTV graphic novel. slash attempt at film.
Yeah, that. Because I felt like the big letter finesse case, I thought that's what it was, and yeah, that's my bad.
No, it was it's a it started off as a graphic novel, um, and then we tried to do something live action with it. And then my brother and I have been developing it for 5 years now, and we've kind of jumped back and forth between whether we want to do it as a comic book or whether we want to do it as a low budget, indie movie. We've since gone back to kind of making it as a comic book because comic books are huge these days. Studios and networks and stuff are snatching up comic book properties left and right because of Marvel and the billions of dollars that they've made, Disney and all that stuff. So everybody's wanting like that next big comic book project. Also, of course, AMC and their Walking Dead and their adaptation of that comic book. So we went back to it being a comic book to hopefully, because the bubble's going to burst on comic books sooner or later. So we're just trying to slip in before it does and put the comic out there, and hopefully somebody sees it and wants to pick it up and adapt it, and then we can get some money for it, and then we can go back to what it was, as far as our live action goals for it. But it's something that I thought of. Who character name? Um, it's the title of it right now is HTB, which stood for Hard Target Bitch. When I came up with it, it was just like this random name when I was in, I think, high school, and it's always stuck in the back of my mind to just use it for the title of something I wanted to write. And then finally wrote it, attached that title to it. We've kind of debated the name, whether or not in this sort of day and age, if we would stick with that, being the name of the comic. But it's just about a assassin for hire who, after her latest target turns out to be a federal witness, she has to turn for help. She has to turn to an internet friend that she vowed never to meet in person. So there's like some drama, some comedic elements to it, but it's made mostly to be an action sort of project. And Annie Cruz, who's made her name as an adult actress who's since kind of transitioned from in front of the camera to behind it, and she's a cosplayer, she's a gamer, radio personality out in LA. She is going to be a part of it. We wanted her to be the face of the character, use her likeness for the character to try to cash in on her fan base as far as pushing initial units of the book. And then we would have her also play the character in any sort of live action adaptation if we ever got to that point. Like I said, we fluctuated between live action and comic book. We've done a couple, crowd funding means to try to raise money for both elements of the book as well as elements of the live action product. Taken our lumps, not succeeded in any way, shape, or form with that, but still pushing forward with it just because we think it's a strong story. It's a good story. Something we feel is different from what's out there. It's got a strong female character, strong female lead, and that's the big thing is trying to get female characters, female led projects out there. I mean, this is stuff that I've been writing 9 times out of 10. The stuff that I've been writing since I was a kid had a female lead in it, so I was doing that before it became in vogue as it is these days. So it's just it's a good project, and we just want to get it done and get it out there. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, taking our lumps with it, try to learn from it, and just try to evolve, change the project, make some tweaks to it that'll make it more appealing, more to a wider range of people than maybe it was written for when I first came up with it. But we'll see.
Keep on going. I like the idea actually. But when you say that, or you say that the superhero genre in movies or whatever, it's about the burst, like the bubble. What do you mean by that?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't see the bubble bursting right now. I got to be honest with you. There's some of the stuff being produced by the big budget stuff. I only go see superhero movies. The only movie I didn't see was a superhero movie. The latest was Hobbs and Shaw. Most of the other crap, I'm like, I might see Gemini Man, Will Smith, but the rest of this stuff is like, what the hell are you trying to sell to me? Because I don't want to see that.
Um, Will Smith, God, I hated him as Deadshot in Suicide Squad, but that's a tangent for
I actually
another.
like, I don't know, I might even buy it because I paid like 50. When I got it, I bought it when I was a kid, like a couple years ago. I was like 13, 14. I paid like $15 for the whole movie. So I was like, I can't hate this because I paid a lot of money for it. Like when you're 13, 14, 15, $20 is a lot of money. But I was like, I loved it. And the scene where he was getting all the guns, I thought that was so freaking cool. But I was like, so many people hated the movie. I was like, Now that I look back at hindsight, the story of the movie was kind of shit. Like, what the fuck was this supposed to be all powerful, and then they just beat her somehow? I was like, what the hell was that? When I go back and watch it now, the story is it's kind of bad. It is a bad movie, but like that one scene where he was like he's shooting all the guns, and then they're like the dressing up scene. That was like my favorite scenes. Everything else is kind of bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, like the movie is trash. I'm a huge Suicide Squad fan. Like I'm trying now to collect the Ostrander run of the original Suicide Squad comics. I've done a Suicide Squad fan film. So I love my squad. So I was happy when the movie was announced. I hated Will Smith being Deadshot because at this point in time, like there are certain actors you see that they can disappear into a role. Like you don't see just that actor. Will Smith is not one of those people. Will Smith, you either get two Will Smiths. You either get super dramatic Pursuit of Happiness, Concussion Will Smith, or you get jokey, sarcastic, quippy Mike Lowry from Bad Boys Will Smith. That's it. That's his only two ranges at this point in his career. And as Deadshot, you got, quippy, Mike Lowry, um, Will Smith for the most part. So that brought down that movie for me. That's why I'm hugely um, anticipating James Gunn and his turn at the Suicide Squad um, sequel, boot, requel, or whatever it is going to be related to the first film. But as far as the bubble bursting, it's just, I mean, how big were Westerns for the longest time? Years upon years upon years ago, of course. But how many Westerns do you see being a success now? Not that many. And it's just, like I said, every studio, every network is snatching up comic book properties left and right. But at a certain point in time, people are going to get tired of it. I think. I mean, we could still be 6-7 years away from it. But I still think the bubble will burst some point. I mean, we're going to get a test of it to be sure in this next phase of Marvel movies because you don't have your any of the Avengers, any of the big three. There's no Cap, there's no Thor, there's no Iron Man going forth. You've got, you know,
And there's no Spider-Man anymore, so that's
no, because of that whole
a
thing, and
business.
Sony thinking that they can make a good Spider-Man movie, which when's the last
Well,
time they did that?
they can't do it, but like did you see the stuff that Disney was trying to force on them? Disney knew that if they didn't take it, the fans were gonna fucking hate Sony. Which they should, because Sony can't make a good movie to save their lives. But End of the Spider Verse was good, but I think that was a lot to do with like not like this the story, but a lot of like background things that this texture that added on to the movie, like the music and everything and the culture of it.
Oh yeah, and that's and then I mean Into the Spider Verse was good, and the only good, I mean, it came with like a good, it was good and bad because Into the Spider Verse was good and it made money, it was a success, and it was critically a success. It emboldened Sony, who somehow made some money off of Venom. I fell asleep the first time I watched that. That was just trash. But because
Yeah,
those
that
two
was
movies
that
made
was
money, it emboldened them to think that they can do. And I saw a report on that where Sony, because of those two movies, pretty much, they thought that they didn't need Disney anymore, which is one of the reasons why they balked at, negotiations regarding Spider-Man. Of course, I think they're going to find out that, um,
they
things
need
will go back
Disney.
to the way they were with Sony making crappy movies.
This is where I think it's gonna go. I think it's gonna go. They're gonna try to make one. They're gonna try to make a Spider-Man film. It's gonna be shitty. They're gonna try again. It's gonna be shitty, and they're gonna do Into the Spider-Verse, and they're gonna bring back. Well, they might have to go. They might have to do it like the fifth time around. Like they're gonna make the next movie is gonna be bad. Then the fifth movie, They're gonna try to do Into the Spider-Verse and bring back Tobey Maguire and Garfield, and it's gonna be somewhat good, but mostly shitty.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I think that's their fallback plan. Into the Spider-Verse live action.
yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's hubris on the part of Sony that they have not earned, and it's trust that they're hoping to have from the movie-going community that they have not earned. But I mean, done is done, so we'll see how it goes.
Your audio starting to cut out a lot.
I say it's just what's done is done as far as like Spider-Man, being gone. So I mean, we'll just see how it goes going forth, and with whatever they put out there.
Can I talk to you a little about Titans? I see you do Titans reviews on your YouTube channel. One thing I want to talk about second season. I watched the second season on Saturday because the first two episodes, because I was like, I saw it came out. I was well aware that the second season had started, and I was like, this is just going to be more Dick Grayson story. Everything is going to revolve around Dick Grayson, all this and that. And now I'm into it, and everything doesn't revolve around Dick Grayson. It revolves around the other characters and building them up, like Hawk and Dove, Starfire. Now I'm like or Corey. Now I'm really interested in the season now because it's not the show revolving around Dick Grayson.
Oh yeah, and like I said in my recap videos, it felt to me there were so many good. It's like Suicide Squad. I mean, there were elements of it that there was potential. There was so much potential there. It just didn't work out. The execution was trash. Same thing with the first season of Titans, where there was potential there. There was good actors. It was a good cast. They had good chemistry with each other. I thought it was just some of the narrative. It was just a broken narrative where like some things would, the story would be kind of going to one direction. Then it was almost like the showrunner writers would forget that, oh yeah, in this episode we did this. So 5 episodes later, they're finally like, oh, we got to go back and address, X, Y, and Z that happened. And it was just, I believe that it didn't help that the first season had some shenanigans happen with the season finale and season shortening, and the season finale of season 1 was or the season premiere of season 2 was meant to be the season finale of season 1, but then they moved stuff around. But even like I said in my recap, that it felt to me if they would have made the first 20 minutes a part of the season finale, and then that last 30 15 18 minutes of the first episode of season 2, put that onto the second episode of season 2, and made the episode Rose, made that the actual season premiere, it would have flowed so much better. But even then, the flow of season 2 in these 2 episodes it's heads and shoulders above season 1. And of course, we're 2 episodes in, the bar was set kind of low, so we'll see how it goes, for the next slew of episodes. But at this point, just relationships and just the plot elements, where the story is kind of going, what they're sprinkling in. My optimism for season 2 is way, way high. It doesn't help that, or it doesn't hurt that I'm a Deathstroke mark through and through. So I'm curious to kind of see how he comes in. I'm liking him thus far. They kind of keep him as this boogeyman off, kind of hovering just on kind of the outside of the Titans and their world right now before he comes crashing down on them. I'm all for that. And of course, I love everything about Hawk and Dove. Alan Richardson as Hank, and Minka, I forget her last name, as Dove. Their chemistry, their baggage, everything about them, I just love every bit of it. And I want a Hawk and Dove spinoff. I know we'll never get it, but damn it, I want it.
That damn. I know that speaking of spinoff, I heard Swamp Thing was really good, and I was right about to do it. But the week I said I'm gonna watch Swamp Thing, it got canceled. I said, well, I'm not wasting no time on something that's canceled. And then I know Doom Patrol got canceled. I'm gonna be honest, that show kept boring the fuck out of me. I couldn't. It was boring.
Doom Patrol's filming season 2 right now.
It's going.
Doom Patrol's filming season 2.
It's getting a season 2. I thought it got canceled.
No, there wasn't a big
And I might
blow
have
up
to,
about it, but no, it got. I didn't even notice it until I've seen some of the other dudes that I'm subscribed to on YouTube that do talk about shows, stuff like that, talking about it, season two stuff. But no, they got a season two. Swamp Thing so good, except for the last episode, because they chopped off the last couple episodes. They had to do drastic rewrites, and I think the last episode of Swamp Thing is called Loose Ends. I might be misremembering that, but it felt truly like there was
Just
some
about
loose
like
ends that they tried to tie up quickly. It just didn't work. It just, from what I had read on some reports, it was that the people it was a money thing because the state that they were shooting in promised X number of dollars for the show. DC budgeted that, and then the state came back and said, "Hey, we've only got this much," which was way short of what DC budgeted for. So there was that, but then there was also conflicting reports that some of the higher ups with DC, the ones behind the DC Universe app as a whole, and then there was a merger or some kind of shakeups where some bean counters and kind of higher ups thought that Swamp Thing was going to be in the vein of like your typical CW Arrowverse kind of superhero show, and it wasn't. So they weren't solidly behind it once they kind of realized that, oh, it's not going to be like Arrow or Supergirl or Flash. Well, then we don't really like it. But that's not been confirmed as far as I know. There's just some of the chatter around the cancellation. I mean, everything up to the last couple episodes, because there's like and you haven't seen it, so I won't spoil it for you if you care to check it out. But I mean,
even if you spoil
part
it,
of the
I might check it out.
There's a part of the story in one of the later episodes where it's just like a character uses this bit of information or this kind of possibility as a means to escape the peril that they're in, and it's just so stupid. Like they truly jumped the shark sort of moment. It's just like one of those. I think after that, I ended up like I was gonna do a video on it because had done episode recaps of Swamp Thing up to that episode, and then I was gonna do something just ranting about my anger about that plot point. And then I just never got back to it. And I just never went back to it because it just made me so mad. Like I finished watching it just because I started watching it, but I just was like, screw it. I'm just not going to talk about Swamp Thing anymore because this is stupid. And then they brought it up, I think in the next episode after. It's so stupid and just out of place and just logically dumb. And I was just like, I was done. But so many things before that, and just just the mood, the vibe, the cinematography, the music, so many elements of that show are just phenomenal. It was just a victim of bad timing and just people who weren't on board with it, and factors like that. But it was started off strong, and then it got shot down.
So basically, DC had lightning in the bottle, and they threw it away. DC threw the lightning away. Not by yeah.
And that's the thing about like as they try to generate original content for the DC Universe app and trying to get reasons for people to subscribe. I mean, I've subscribed to it for some of the new shows, and of course, the old shows, the Justice League and Batman, the animated series, and Batman Beyond, and all that stuff. I'll watch that stuff. I'll marathon all that kind of stuff all day. And the important thing with the original content was to provide different stuff. And Titans, Doom Patrol, and Swamp Thing are all they have a different look, a different feel, a different sound, a different voice. And they truly had something with Swamp Thing that was just this sort of like, not so much superhero stuff, but it was like this kind of thriller, horror-ish kind of vibe to it that they really could have been so different from stuff that's other stuff that's out there. And they wanted it to be cookie cutter, like the CW shows. I mean, I love the CW shows, but I realize that they're woefully formulaic and stale in some regards, which I'm hoping against hope that with the Crisis thing, as I've again said in my recap videos, that the Crisis on Infinite Earths, that big TV crossover, is a chance to refuel, reboot, and just reshape the CW universe, kind of break that staleness, that stale formulaic feeling that shows have. It's a chance to break it. And with Swamp Thing, they had a chance to be different, to stand out from everything else that's out there, and they just shot it down.
When it comes to those CW shows, I got like a million and one grades about every single one of them. Um, like Black Lightning, I love the first season. Second season, they like first couple episodes, okay. Then like I could see, I just stopped watching. I could see his daughter's getting more involved, and trying to aim and clean was getting more involved. And I personally don't like her as an actor. Like something about her just doesn't connect with me, so I just don't watch. I don't like to watch a lot of things that she's in because she just doesn't connect with me. And then I'm seeing, then you get to Flash. And Flash, this is how a Flash episode goes. There's a meta. They catch the meta. Sometimes the meta joins the team. Sometimes the meta becomes their friend. Most of the time, the meta is never someone they stick with. Arrow, I haven't really looked at Arrow. It's so far behind. It's just so far into what they're in and they're about to end, so I'm just not going to do it. Supergirl, on the borderline of a completely SJW show. Batwoman, that's a completely SJW mess up. That's probably not going to get a lot of views.
I like with Black Lightning definitely went through a sophomore slump. So hopefully they can fix it. Flash, Flash is frustrating because there's so much just plot-induced stupidity from the characters. Like with and just especially last season, keep
And like that girl
going as a villain. Like there were so many times that they would, the whole idea is to knock him down, get the dagger out of his hand, and then they would be victorious. And they would have, Cicada down, or once it was like Cicada 2, when it was the guy's niece or whatever, they would have her down, they would have the dagger away from her, but then they'd sit there and talk, or they'd, pontificate about this or that, and then the baddie would get up and then escape because they have to pad the season out, stretch the episodes out. So it was just plot-induced stupidity with Flash, no more apparent than last season, and the need to stretch Cicada out. Arrow last season, hit or miss on some episodes. It was mostly good. Definitely a step up from the season before that. Supergirl, I only watch for the crossover, and that's the only time I watch that show. Just because I'm a sucker for crossovers, be it the superhero shows, be it Law and Order back in the day when it would when SVU would cross over with Homicide, Life on the Street, when Law and Orders would cross over with the other when SVU crossed over with regular Law and Order, when you have Law and Order SVU crossover with Chicago PD, all the Chicago shows, the Chicago cinematic or television universe they got going on, where they have Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, and Chicago Med all crossover all the time. Like I'm a sucker for all that, so that's the only time I check back in with Supergirl. I like the actress and stuff, but the first season, of course, turned me off because I hate Calista Flockhart with a passion. I think she's a terrible actor, and the character she was trying to bring forth was terribly concocted, terribly executed. Everything about it was bad, so that just completely put me off. And then there's some elements, other just narrative elements that, again, are kind of the pitfalls of the CW shows that turn me off of it. So I'll check in. Like I said, when a crossover happens, I'm there. But otherwise, I'm not watching it.
We're going to watch Batwoman?
I am the first few episodes of it, at least give it a shot, because I'm a huge Ruby Rose fan. So I'm purely going to watch it for her. I believe she showed some potential in Elseworlds last season, but she just didn't have there wasn't enough meat there for me to really judge. That's why I'm glad that she was getting just a dedicated pilot, and which went to full season order. But she needed her own world to be in her own world, her own setting to really shine, or to fall on her face, whichever was going to happen. So there wasn't enough to judge her character by in Elseworlds. So I will check it out just for Ruby Rose. I imagine after a few episodes, it'll slip into the CW formula as far as her. You already have the. If you look at the trailers, you got the black dude who's like a sidekick. He's I forget his first name. His last name is Fox. I know he's like Lucius Fox's son, I think. But he's going to be the quippy, hacker, Cisco / Curtis / Felicity slash what was the dude's name in Supergirl? I
Win,
can't
I think
remember
that's the name.
that
Win.
win, yeah. But that sort of character, we already know that's who that's going to be, and just remains to be seen what other roles are going to. It's like they build the secondary characters like you would a MMO like team, like 4-person team in an MMO. Like you have the tank, you have the healer, you have the troller, you have the damage dealer. And the CW shows apply that formula where you have like the adorkable hacker person, and then they have this person for this and this person for this, and they have clearly defined roles and archetypes across each show. Like it's funny that they'll say Team Flash, Team Arrow, Team Supergirl. It's like they're teams, yeah, and they're completely made up of the same types of characteristics and roles, and it's really annoying at this point because we've seen it for the better part of 8.5 years. That's why I want Crisis to come along and just shake up everything. It's a chance to just be different, to step out there and be different, do stuff that's different, not just do everything that's come before. It's the struggle to step out of, not be scared to step out of the formula. You could almost kind of liken that to wrestling and the industry and the stagnation of it in some aspects, and the formulaicness of it, and the reluctance to step outside of the formula, because the formula, I mean, rightly or wrongly, has made X number of dollars to this point. So you don't want to upset the apple cart and do something different from what's made you tons and tons of money. But by the same token, you can still get a stale product that in the long run will hurt you, and not need to not be afraid to do different stuff, be it on the CW or be it in the wrestling business. So many parallels.
Yeah. I had one more question. Is about like regarding like, do you like these trailers for Batwoman? They don't do them any favors. It looks like they're so easy to attack. I don't who came up with these trailers. I hope the show is alright or good. I hope it's great, but like these trailers aren't doing them any favors.
No, it's a bit. Um, uh, I think pandering is a bit strong of a word for where I am, because I mean I'm all for. I'm liberal as can be and unapologetic about that. I'm all for equal representation and for everybody, ages, races, genders, creeds, beliefs, whatever. Everybody should get a fair shot at whatever they want to do. That being said, you can still kind of be, you could have good intentions with what you're doing, but you can still, in your execution, be kind of cringy, kind of a turnoff. And I think that whoever's cutting the promotional stuff for Batwoman they're trying to be smart. I don't want to say smart. That's not the good word. Like I see what they're trying to do, but in their execution, it's a little much. But it remains to be seen again in how rough was the Flash pilot or the Arrow pilot. I mean, look at that. You go back and look at that, and look at some of the episodes in recent seasons, and kind of see where they find their footing, and kind of make things better. So it just may be, and that's with any TV show. You look at any pilot of any TV show, it's largely different from episodes in later seasons, and maybe even later in the first season, as the writers and showrunners and executives, actors, and cast and crew, as they find their footing and find their voice, they can kind of refine things and stuff. So I don't mind them kind of coming out the gate and just one way, learning from it, and then adjusting things to better the product going forth.
I hope it does great as well, and all that, and get all that stuff going. Okay, a couple final questions. One, will you watch NXT tonight on USA?
I will. I love NXT. It's one of the I love NXT. I love the stuff that they do there. That's one of my frustrations with WWE at this point, because some of my favorite workers, they'll get called up and then they'll just get misused or underused on, the larger shows. It's like they were just balling out in NXT, and then they get up to the big show. Which I understand. There's an established hierarchy. There's established, larger, um, guys and gals and that sort of thing. But I would just rather that they had just more of a fair shake at trying to make things happen for themselves once they get to the main roster. But for me, more often than not, NXT is my preferred show that I like to view, and workers that I like to watch and pay attention to.
Yeah, I'm more of like a W. I like NXT, but I can't watch. I kind of like. I just like storyline, and I feel like there's so. I like the like. That's like storyline or whatever, which WWE hasn't been delivering on. I feel like all of it. People say we're in like a boom. Yeah, we're in a boom for exposure, and I hate when people say that. You can't say we're in a wrestling boom, but you're like so disconnected from the product. I watch like. I don't even feel like I watch a lot of wrestling, but I watch like probably 80% more wrestling than these people do. People are like, oh, WWE always sucks, but you watch it every week. And Josh Barnett just ran Bloodsport on Saturday, which was a phenomenal show. And like, I feel like everyone that watched it was tweeting about it. So about maybe 5,000 people watched it. It was a phenomenal show. If you're one of the people that love to complain about WWE, but won't go out of your way to watch anything else, I can't. I don't have a lot of empathy for you. Like you're doing it for yourself. I can't feel sorry for you. I can't feel bad for you.
Yeah.
There's so much like you say we're in a boom, but you don't even watch. You watch like you watch one brand, and you watch AEW, and AEW is winning 4 shows. Like you don't know what the boom is. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought of look at it like that, but I can definitely see not so much, like I said, not so much a boom, but a boom in
exposure.
Exposure. Yeah, just and again, we go back to our earlier bit on social media. That's you see it a lot more, so it kind of gives you like maybe perhaps gives you a false idea of its how much it really resonates with people, with fans, with the audiences that you're trying to go for. You might get a false sense of security with that just because of XYZ is trending on Twitter for an hour on this day and this time, so you think things are good, but things could be totally different.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get another thing. People always say that like this and that thing that goes back to like what I just said. People always say like Vince McMahon is out of touch because he just watched WWE. Well, you just watched WWE, so you might just be out of touch and seeing about professional wrestling. That's why I'm doing these interviews. I can get more in touch with the lifeline of professional wrestling. What's really going on in the indies? How are the indies right now? What's really going on? Because what's presented to you from what people think is going on really isn't going on. People are working different. 3 years of business might not just be spot fest. It wants to be totally different. 5 years, totally different. When the next evolution of professional wrestling comes, I want to know about it 5 years before it happens. That's why I'm doing these interviews. So I just want to ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh, 5 years. Ideally, I will be working consistently. I will have gone overseas to work. That's one of my larger goals, is to go international. Whether it's I don't care where it is. I just want to escape the borders of the United States to work. So ideally, that will have happened. I will be working consistently, and I will just be a better worker, and a better known worker than I am right now. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. Ideally, the wrestling stuff will be going well, and the production stuff will be going well, and the notoriety, any sort of attention I get from production can feed into wrestling, and vice versa. People could be like, they see one of my films and they read my bio or something like that, or see an interview, somebody's asking about wrestling. They're like, oh, this dude wrestles. I mean, check out some of his wrestling. Same thing. If somebody sees like my wrestling and they hear an interview, something where I'm talking about my films and production, stuff like that, they're like, oh, I like this dude as a wrestler. Let me see what he does, with his movies and productions and stuff. So ideally, it'll be nice and cyclical, where both worlds will be steadily feeding each other. and I will be successful.
All the luck to you. This is probably my longest interview I've done out of the maybe 6 or 7 that I've done. It's a good chat, and I wish you a ton of luck in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for deeming me important enough to sit down and have a conversation with. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, so this is MDW from Get the Tables podcast, live every Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Raw and SmackDown review, Friday, Impact Watch Party, Saturday, Women's in the Windows Show.